Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video I was actually going to be talking about the importance of thumbnailing and planning out your drawings, but I decided to change the topic and talk about something different. And what I actually want to talk about is the roots of your inspiration and what led you on the path to become an illustrator or take art up as your hobby or your career. What started me on my path was when my mum first sat me down and put a pencil in my hand and taught me how to draw a cat. And I carried on drawing ever since that day. Now, what influenced me later on was definitely anime and manga. There's definitely hints of it in my style, but lately I do actually want to pull away from that. And I'm not suggesting that anime and manga are bad styles. There are a lot of examples that have great stylization, good animation, fantastic backgrounds and good storytelling. But I feel that the aspects of that influence in my work have begun to stagnate. I'm not happy with a lot of what I draw, and I feel it is because of that influence on my work from a very early age. I wasn't looking at the fundamentals of art, I wasn't doing life drawing, and I wasn't looking at anything other than manga and anime as my source of influence and inspiration. And to me, my style stagnating is not something I was happy about happening. I don't want to stagnate. I don't want people to grow out of my artwork. I want to keep changing and improving. And sometimes it's far too easy to stay in your comfort zone. And I feel this is especially true that with artists that have a big following. And it is wonderful that you have people, viewers, who buy, who support your artwork. It is a truly wonderful thing. But it's so easy to stay comfortable, to stay in that little zone that you have made yourself, never trying anything new, never improving, never looking back, never looking forward, just doing the same thing over and over again. I hear a lot of young artists and possibly a lot of professional artists, or what would be considered professional, say they won't try comics because that's just not their thing. But how do you know if you don't try? They won't try a new medium because again they say, oh, that's not what I do. They won't try drawing realism, they won't try drawing from life. They won't try looking at older artworks of like old masters or even some of the old fairy tale illustrators like Arthur Rackham, simply because they say that is not their thing, and they stay in this little zone, their own little bubble, never trying anything new, and yet they have the money, the time and the resources to actually take a chance and try something new. It doesn't matter if it ends in failure, sometimes you can learn more from the failure than the victory. And for most of this is about me. This is a call out post to me. I need to not be afraid, I need to try new things, and for a long time I was very much the person who would not try new things. I would not try alcohol markers because they smelled bad, that was the only reason. And I make terrible excuses for myself when I look at my sketchbook and I say, oh, I don't want to draw today because I know it will look bad. That's the point, the sketchbook is to look bad. Sometimes you're going to have great illustrations, sometimes you're going to have terrible sketches. But it's okay, that's part of the learning experience. And I need to learn not to be afraid of jumping into pieces. I do want to make more finished pieces, but the fear of failure holds me back. The fear of making something that looks exactly the same as all the other pieces I've done holds me back. And I don't want to use this as an excuse anymore. I want to dive in with the drawings. I want to try new things. I want to push myself to make myself a better artist for both myself and for you, the viewer. You don't want to see the same drawing every time I upload a video. You want to see new things. You want to hear about how sometimes things don't work out. You want the real experience. And so back to the original topic, because that kind of went off on a little tangent, but it does relate back to what I was originally saying. I tried to look past the anime phase. I tried to look past all the modern art that I've seen, all the artwork I see on Instagram and Tumblr and DeviantArt. I tried to get back to the very roots of what inspired me, and I came across old fairy tale illustrators Arthur Rackham, Kay Nielsen and Edmund Dulac. These are actually paintings that I grew up with. They were hung on the walls of my family home, and they still are today. There are still Arthur Rackhams hanging in the living room. I remember looking at Arthur Rackham's line work and Kay Nielsen's colours. Fantastic artists who did amazing illustrations, and I remember always wanting to draw like that. And while I can't draw their style, that's not the point, because I can never draw their style better than they could, but I can incorporate it into my own work and let it influence me like it used to. Because the point is, it's bad to have just one source of influence and inspiration for your work. If you are only ever inspired by one anime, you will never develop your own style. In a way, your drawings will have a lifelessness to them, because experiences are important to your artwork and your artistic development. You cannot just pull inspiration from one source. You need to look all across different works, even artwork you hate. I remember forcing myself to look at artwork I didn't like, and yet I actually found techniques that I wanted to incorporate into my own work. Another thing I've been doing is collecting old illustrated field guides, books about flora and fauna of Britain and Northern Europe. I have an old gardening book that shows illustrations of pagodas and fences and things that will just be so much better to incorporate into my artwork rather than just relying on one source, which was anime and manga, or most recently it's been Western cartoons like Steven Universe. I don't want that to be the only source of my influence, because those things have flaws, and if you just end up taking from that one source, eventually you will take their flaws as well, and you don't want that. You want to be able to look at everything and pull from everything, little bits here and there. Look at artwork you don't like, look at artwork you do like, look at modern art, look at old art, go to art galleries or look online at the archived posts, which I'm sure you can actually find. The Victorian Albert is actually a really good source of finding old sculptures and paintings with some really interesting technique. And don't just look at artwork, look at films, look at real life, go outside, draw what you see in your room. I know I'm guilty of not doing that, but it's something I really want to implement. Inspiration is a very fickle thing. It comes and goes as it pleases. And while you can't always rely on it, it's good to keep that little plant of inspiration watered by looking at new things and trying new techniques. Overall, you really do want to rely more on your discipline than your inspiration, but it's always good to have a good mixture of both. Again, I just want to say I'm really not bashing on the style of anime and manga. It can be wonderfully made if well executed, but I find too many people rely on it as their sole source of influence on their artwork. The same goes with Steven Universe and other Western cartoons. But I guess the real reason for making this video is that I don't want people to come back in 2 years' time and look at my artwork and think, wow, she hasn't improved at all. Because I find that's the case with a lot of artists that I look back at now. And there is nothing wrong with slow progress. I understand that sometimes you don't improve the rate you want to. I know I don't. I want to be so much better than I actually am at the moment. But skill takes time, and I understand that very much. But you can tell when people don't put the effort in. They don't do anything to improve their artwork, and yet they complain that they haven't improved. And that's not the type of person I want to be. I want to be trying new things on this channel. I'm going to try and make new videos, and most importantly, I want to listen to you, the audience, the viewer. My channel wouldn't be where it is today. I would not be where I am today without you, the viewer. You provide me so much support to carry on what I love, and so I do want you to have an influence on this channel and what kind of videos you would like to see in future. I am very curious, as I'm always looking for new ideas, and I'd love to hear what you'd have to say. So I will be trying to draw some more realistic things, more backgrounds. One video I have planned I'm very excited for, and I hope you will like it. But yes, please share your suggestions, I would love to hear them. And seeing as we're nearly at the end of the video, I'd just like to talk a little bit about the drawing. This drawing was very much inspired by the childhood pictures that I grew up with, Arthur Rackham. Cale Neeson especially influenced the colours, and I know it might be a little bit similar to what I've done before, but I feel like I did push myself with the use of more mixed mediums like the alcohol markers and the watercolours and the coloured pencils, trying to bring them all together to make a complete finished piece. I am actually hoping to turn this into a little series of paintings called Broken Nights, featuring the characters from my comic. But I'd definitely like to incorporate more details and more focus on the background in future pieces. Because obviously there's still a lot I could have improved on in this picture, but overall I am very happy with it. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in another video very soon. Bye bye.